This episode is brought to you by Wise. Wise is the app for international people using money around the globe. With Wise, you can send, spend, and receive up to 40 currencies with only a few simple taps and save up to 55% compared to major banks. Plus, Wise won't add hidden fees to your transfer. Whether you're buying souvenirs with pesos in Puerto Vallarta or sending euros to tip your Coliseum tour guide, you know you're getting a fair exchange rate with no extra markups. Be smart. Join the 15 million customers who choose Wise. Download the Wise app today or visit wise.com. Learn more by visiting wise.com/US/compare. T's and C's apply. Today on CityCast Denver, the Denver Center for the Performing Arts announced the closure of its immersive theater arm this week, and Casa Bonita is replacing its roving cast of characters with static decorations. Is Denver over interactive art? Me and producer Paul Caroli are joined by one of our faves to dig into these stories, plus our wins and fails of the week. Today is Friday, October 10th. I'm Bree Davies, and here's what Denver's talking about. Welcome to CityCast Denver, the show about the city where the only Taco Bell cantina will be at DIA. Yes, you can get a boozy Baja Blast, but you'll have to pay too much for that at the airport. Are either of you fans of the Taco Bell cantina?
No.
I've heard of it.
Thank you so much for showing up today. Okay.
There isn't one here, right? That's the
only one will be at DIA.
So there isn't. So when we're going to get one, and it's at the airport.
And just so everybody knows, Taco Bell Cantina, that's where you can get Taco Bell and alcohol at the same place,
and
right?
And Taco Bell tapas.
And tapas. Ooh. I only know this from Las Vegas. And I remember I had a friend that told a story, the Taco Bell Cantina, and then they also had a Ross Dress for Less, and he needed both because he soiled his pants. And so that's what I think about when I think about Taco Bell Cantina.
Did he soil his pants like at the cantina, or this was just two things he really he needed to visit in Vegas?
I think he, I don't know if he wanted to soil his pants. I'm not going to put that on him, but I think the cantina directly, the alcohol and the
Taco Bell.
And the Taco Bell.
I think if you go in the Taco Bell cantina, you know the risks you're taking on.
That's right. I hope you have some Depends on, you know.
It just feels like you usually want the Taco Bell after booze, so I don't know. I guess people would want these things together.
Yeah, every time I get like Taco Bell, it's because I'm drunk and I'm at a low point. You know what I mean? Like it's not like I'm gonna change my life. Let's get a chalupa.
Yeah.
Did you all see this Taco Bell race that happened in Denver?
Oh, it went right by Paul's house. How was that?
Yeah,
Paul?
well, that's what I was going to say. I went right by my house, and I saw there were a bunch of pictures online of people covering it, and everyone looked really happy. But I can tell you from the halfway point in the race that no one looked happy, and no one was running.
Yeah, it's like a bit.
100% walking.
And then people get mad about being a part of the bit that they got to finish it.
Yes.
You know? Yeah.
That's what
Yeah, that's true.
Exactly.
It's like you don't want to have to live through the whole... You don't want to have to make it through the whole bit, which is, ha, 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 I'm doing a marathon and eating Taco Bell along the way, which no one in their regular mind would do, I don't think.
My Taco Bell hack is to get a steak chalupa, and put pinto beans in it. And that tastes like a fast food Navajo taco. Yeah, just so you guys know.
That's a good hack. Okay, I love it. Well, it's Friday. I'm Bree Davies. We're coming to you on video from the beautiful Dude IDK Studios in Five Points. Producer Paul Caroli is here. You've heard his voice. Hi, Paul.
Actually, hey, I'd like to be known as Sparkle Paul.
Sparkle Paul?
Yep.
Are you a vampire now?
Have you not been watching Love is Blind?
No. It's a tribute to
on
my
purpose,
favorite
I haven't.
Love is Blind the star of Denver Love is Blind, Sparkle Megan.
Sparkle Megan. And now you're Sparkle Paul.
I'm Sparkle Paul.
I'm saving
Trying it out.
I think I'll binge it. I'll hate watch it, but from what I see,
it's hard to binge. It's so boring.
Is it?
Yes.
It's
a slog.
Here's what I've heard about it. I've heard that there's a lot of people that don't think that it's a good representation of Denverites. That they're very particular. A lot of like out of towners coming in, and then I've heard that it's the most conservative Love is Blind. The conversations
if that's the tenor of the times, and that is now being reflected in this particular season. I wonder if that's really a Denver problem, but that is an interesting point.
Yeah. So
it's
there's enough people making content about it that I feel like I don't have to like dive into it, you know. But I think I will hate watch it at some point.
Well, my best of luck to you. There's more episodes out that came out this week. So I think you have like 14 episodes or something to watch. 13.
I'll report back.
That's like a half a day. So good luck with that. You've heard his voice, Joshua Emerson, one of our favorites, a stand-up comedian, among many other things he does. Hi, Joshua.
Hi, Bree. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us. Before we get to it, we have a little bit of business. I'm going to hand the mic over to Paul for a little corner. We call Paul correctly.
Yes. So we talked earlier in the week about the conversion therapy case at the Supreme Court.
Yes.
Based on there's a woman named Colorado Springs mental health service provider. And we were talking about her, and I someone listened to this episode and pointed out that something we said might not be exactly correct. So we were talking about her standing in this case. And what her standing what was the damage that she was suffering from Colorado's law banning conversion therapy.
She wants to practice conversion therapy.
She wants to be doing it, yeah. So we were talking about this quote from the New York Times that had said, if a young person came to me, this is from this person, then I would not be allowed to serve them in the way that they might be requesting. Now, I went and revisited the reporting, and I think this person who listened is right, that there is no evidence that I found that there has been a stream of these young people coming to her
just dying to get conversion
with this
therapy.
request for conversion therapy, or whatever they would call it. It's just the fact that she doesn't have the option to give the therapy that she thinks some people might want. Although it's possible that people are asking her, I just couldn't find any evidence of it.
I can't imagine they are, but that's a good clarification, Paul. I think this is an Alliance Defending Freedom case, as we talked about, which also used a hypothetical situation in one of their previous cases around making websites for queer folks. So thank you for that to that listener for correcting that.
Appreciate the clarification and the opportunity to correct the record.
For sure. On a happier note, we have a member event coming up.
Ooh.
Oh, I'm so excited. It's the best thing we do.
I almost disclosed where it's going to be, and then I was like, it has to be undisclosed unless you're a member and you got an email yesterday that tells you all about it. You're invited. If you are, again, this is a members only event. It's going to be really fun. We've got some great guests, and we'd love for you to come. If you want to come, you got to join. So
I had a lot of fun at the last one.
Yeah, me too.
I love chopping it up with the people that listen to the podcast every day.
They're
so
great
many
people.
folks showed up too.
CityCast people are good people.
Yeah.
This one, space is limited though. We do not have the whole schoolyard
So
space that we did.
Exclusive.
This is very exclusive. So
that's right. We want people to want to come and not be able to.
That's right.
And that's
Exclusivity,
really where we're
that's our
trying.
game.
That's success right there.
Well, and it's politics themed. So if you're a politics hound, if you're interested, if you want to hear the insider info, you want to hear the good gossip, you want to get the good analysis live, see a live recording, that's fun. Next time you see that email, or if you have it in your inbox and you're a member, or if you want to become a member, sign up now, membership.citycast.fm, RSVP, ASAP.
yes,
Respondez, s'il vous plaît.
it happens next week.
Hey, look at that. You speak French.
Yeah.
Time is short.
Also, you said RSVP ASAP, but it's like respondez, s'il vous plaît already means like respond quickly. I don't know.
Well, even ASAPer. More fast.
Okay, my bad.
More faster, please.
It's as soon as possible, but faster.
Yeah.
It's
Even
literally
sooner.
as soon as possible.
Yeah, but faster than that.
Mathematically, you
I was
can't go
thinking about
sooner.
this with ASAP Rocky's name. His name is as soon as possible, Rocky.
As soon as possible, Rocky. Yeah. That's what I say to ice cream. Okay.
ASAP. Okay, so yes, RSVP, and we'd love to see you there. Again, it's next week, so it's coming up soon. All right, our top story is immersive theater dying here in Denver. There's two big pieces of this story, I think, that we put together happening this week. We're going to start with the news that the DCPA has canceled its off-center production arm, which started in 2010, headed up by Emily Tarquin and Charlie Miller, who actually, he just announced he's leaving the DCPA after 17 years as well.
Almost certainly connected to this.
For sure.
This was his
Absolutely.
baby.
Yeah, absolutely. I covered off-center work early on, I think in the first 2 years that it was on. I talked to both Charlie and Emily. Lovely people, great vision for this thing. I remember covering Shirley Delta Blow's drag history show, Drag Machine, which was part of that. But it was just It's a really cool part of the DCPA's programming. And they said earlier this week that, quote, the company will no longer invest in developing or producing original immersive theater. Instead, the DCPA says it will focus on presenting existing immersive projects while winding down its in-house development arm. This was from John Wenzel at the Denver Post. So if you are not familiar, you may have gone to an off-center event, which includes Camp Christmas, which is happening this year still. There was the Monopoly Life Size. There was that border crossing VR experience.
Mm-hmm.
Paul, did you go to that one?
No, I sadly missed that one. I heard that one was incredible. But Alejandro Iñárritu, the director, he designed it.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be good.
And then, of course, David Byrne's Theater of the Mind was really, I think, the marquee piece that they did in the last few years.
Amazing show.
Yeah.
I still think about it.
Really?
Yeah. Every time I go past York Street Yards.
I'm still on tour.
Is it really? I was thinking about what happened with that.
Yeah, it's coming to Chicago.
Oh, good for them. Good for them. Because that's the thing about these shows, because they had this mix of like the Monopoly Life Size one. The Off-Center people didn't design that.
No,
it's like a
traveling show.
That's
right.
a British show, actually.
And then there's another one that they brought to town that was like a NASA thing that I did. It was like
Space
a VR.
Explorer, yeah.
Yeah. So you went to space. That one was cool. It was okay. But they had a bunch of the touring ones with the brands attached.
And they'll still have the touring ones, right?
That's what it sounds like.
But they're shutting down the in-house.
The Sweet and Lucky is probably not going to happen.
Right.
The Theater of the Mind's probably not going to happen. The locally grown, locally developed, local actors, local producers, those sorts of opportunities are not going to be around.
And that's a part of the story. You said Sweet and Lucky. They had a really successful show in 2016, and then they just put on another one, Sweet and Lucky Echo, that has not gone well. It seems like it. I don't know what ticket sales are out. I do know how they're advertising, and it feels like there's a little bit of desperation in the advertising. I read Tony Trescia's review of the show, and which was
blistering.
Yeah, it was
the
pretty.
Westward Reviewer.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. What is Sweet and Lucky? Is a production company or
it's a show?
It's a show. It's an original piece that
Okay.
Off-Center put on as well
in partnership with another local group.
Yeah.
And that's a current, or it was running.
It's their most recent thing.
It's their most recent thing, and there was a lot of anticipation because of the success of the first show that people
would want to
exactly
go see it.
I saw it.
How'd you like it?
Not much.
Oh, no.
I mean, I wouldn't give it the same scathing review as I gave to Darkfield, which was one of the traveling shows they brought last time, which was capital T traumatic for me and my wife.
Yeah.
But this one was just boring. It's just boring. Just like a big warehouse space, and they brought a bunch of people in, and it's full of like cardboard boxes, and the whole premise is like someone died, and like you're like their kids who used to come to their lake house, and you're clearing out the lake house of stuff that
people wanted an immersive experience of this.
Well, why not? I don't know. It's a very dramatic setup. The problem was that it was very boring, and they didn't establish the story very well or the characters very well. And it was also just the space itself was giant.
Too big.
It didn't have the feeling of a basement at all. It just felt like cardboard boxes that had just been folded together, and a space that was very wide open and empty.
It didn't feel
immersive at all. It just felt empty and cold and stark and flat.
That's a shame. Yeah, Tony in his article that covers the closure of the Off-Center, he does make the connection between the poor show and
the dwindling
and then
sort of attendance and interest
and that I don't know how fair that is. If that is true, I think it's really sad. I don't think it's one show that makes or breaks this.
No, I don't think so either. But the numbers are totally opaque. I couldn't tell anything. The press release, they said the only number they gave was like, they said, we've done 70 productions and it's an $80 million economic impact. And we know how
over 15 years,
how baloney the economic impact numbers are. That just is not worth. You can just throw that straight into the garbage. So we don't know how popular these things have been. We don't know anything about ticket sales. We don't know anything about how successful they've been. Just just the vibes of the shows.
It was a point of pride for Denver actors, especially that our immersive scene had a connection with the DCPA here. And people really saw that as, you know, one of the Pokemon badges of the acting scene here in Denver. So I think a lot of good work has been done there, and I do think it's a big loss for actors here.
Absolutely. I mean, that was the theme of that Westward piece this week about the closure was all of these other people at these other immersive theater troupes or organizations that put on these shows were like, Off-Center was kind of the main thing. This was the most prestigious opportunity. This was the hub. This was the thing that was nationally known. This is the thing that brought David Byrne here. You know, that was relationships that DCPA had that was able to lure him here. And that's an international talent. You know, without Off-Center, there is no theater of the mind. David Byrne's not coming to Denver. Like these smaller troops don't have that. They're all kind of scrappily kind of figuring out their own thing and figuring out where to put on a show in the margins. There's no giant warehouse on South Broadway. There's no prestigious main stage.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, also I think it can be hard to be an incubator space because you're taking chances all the time, and the DCPA can also put Book of Mormon on and sell 1 million tickets, or, you know, the Nutcracker comes through every year or whatever. You know what I mean? There's a lot of more guaranteeds. So I can see where if they're looking at cost cutting, unfortunately, this is when we lose the things that are often the training ground or the fertile space for folks to figure stuff out, to create the thing that does go on to become the theater of the mind.
Well, that's interesting too, because I was looking at DCPA overall and what their expenses and budgets are, because it's a nonprofit. They file 990s. These forms are public. There hasn't been any big change in their expenses or their revenues over the last 10 years. They took a hit during the pandemic like everyone else, but they're pretty regularly in the black. They're making money. They're making profit every year.
That's really depressing to me, to think that is still happening and that they don't want to invest then in the stuff that...
I know. I was surprised. I was like, shouldn't this be the thing that you do with that margin if you're a nonprofit?
I feel like that's part of the vision for the DCPA when they started it decades ago, was to make Denver put us on the map as a space for those kinds of things to grow here. And maybe that vision just is not there for whoever... you know, who makes those big decisions.
Well, it just made me think, like, it made me start thinking, connecting the dots, you know, because the other thing we learned this week was the DCPA is one of the biggest funders of Mayor Johnson's Vibrant Denver campaign.
Oh,
they've been contributing along with some of the other tier one SCFD, which that was surprising to me, because that's taxpayer money that they're putting into a campaign to ask the city to take on more debt. Like, that felt like a conflict of interest to me, and I don't really understand. That's why
it's always wild to me that we just sign off. I mean, I love SCFD as the function of what it does, which is puts money towards these organizations. But again, these are tier ones. These are the big five.
They're getting the most money.
They're getting the most money, and then they're putting the money back into the thing that gives them even more.
I mean, campaign?
That's how the art museum got its big front door with the the new bill. I mean, that's how those things happen. So yeah, I agree with you, Paul. I don't know if that's the best use of taxpayer money, or it would feel that way.
Well, but it made me think about the mayor. It made me think about the mayor's priorities, because the mayor has consistently talked about immersive theater, and he loves this idea that Denver is a hub. And that was the whole story that attracted these two young entrepreneurs from Broadway, who have now created this thing called the Denver Immersive Repertory Theater, DIRT. And they got money from the DDA, the Downtown Development Authority, $400,000 to establish what would perhaps maybe be the new hub for immersive theater, but private, not part of the DCPA. And they said they came here because of the mayor's talk of how good Denver is for immersive. So it's kind of like taking it out of the public hands and putting it into the private.
You're just looking to see like who benefits most from the Off-Center's closure right now.
A little bit.
And it seems a little bit like it might be DIRT.
These guys definitely will.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, these guys definitely will.
They're being set up for that.
Although I think there is something to be said for the strength of the community overall, and the more is more when it comes to this. Like, I don't know if they would see themselves as competitors as much as they would see, like, if there's more people talking about immersive theater and more people giving opportunities to actors and directors and cultivating talent and creating shows, then that just means everybody's going to get better, and the rising tide will lift all ships. Like, if I'm part of a podcasting community, that's how I feel. That's how I've had success in my career, and I would hope that they would have the same attitude. But some people don't see it that way.
Well, and immersive acting is a very particular type of acting, and it's hard to get really good at it without actually doing it and creating these immersive experiences for people that are coming through the event. Like, you sort of actually have to deal with the situation, the problems in the moment to continue to tell a story that you want to, and manage the situation as you have people sort of. It's not just people coming in, sitting down, and then you put the story on. They're coming into your space, and you have to make them like separate from reality for a bit. And so I do think there's a sense that the off-center closing actually probably does hurt dirt long term when it comes to the quality of immersive actor, and just the fact that a buy-in from the public in immersive productions as a concept. I think they're like, even though it's been going on for 17 years, that immersive theater is still like a kind of a new concept for most of the public.
Yes.
And so you losing something that is connected, people know what the DCPA is. Like,
it's validating.
Exactly. You lose a little bit of credibility when you don't have your largest cultural institutions investing into the art form. And so I was saddened by it. I was saddened when I saw the bad reviews for Sweet and Lucky Echoes, and I was saddened by the closure of this, because it makes Denver a little bit worse of a place to live.
I know. I felt the same way. I love this stuff. I go to all these shows. I've seen them all. I like them all. Even when they're bad, I like them because they're fun to talk about. They're fun experiences to share. And then you go afterwards to have a drink and you're like, wow, that was weird.
And you learn so much from being bad. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I failed so much. And those are the times when you can look back. I was like, oh, well, I did this and it happened to this, and that's why this didn't succeed.
I mean, I have a lot to say about this from the immersive art perspective that's not the theater aspect. I mean, I come from the world that produced Meow Wolf, the DIY space that originated Meow Wolf in Santa Fe was in the early 2000s. And it started as creating installations that bands could come and play inside of. So they did a pirate ship. They had prior to the Omega Mart in Las Vegas, they had a grocery store that was like a weird, they were doing this early on. But I bring this up because Meow Wolf looked to Denver when they first wanted to expand outside of Santa Fe. And a huge part of that was our underground DIY community that they were already connected to that was doing immersive experiences inside dirty warehouses.
Interesting.
But not to the attention that someone that might be going to the DCPA was going to. And this was really fertile ground for Denver. And so I think Meow Wolf choosing us said a lot about all of these things, because Off Center was happening at the same time. And I think they looked to us and saw Denver's got a lot of opportunity here. So I wonder what that means in the long term. If something like Off Center is closing, are we on a downturn of this type of art being interesting to people?
This episode is brought to you by Denver Film, because movie lovers across the city are getting hyped. It's almost time for Denver's biggest celebration of cinema, and you don't want to miss it. I'm talking red carpets, celebs, Hollywood moguls, exclusive parties and VIP events, and you can be a part of it. Honestly, I've always had a great time at Denver Film Fest. Not only do they bring out so many good movies that you can just show up to basically a random theater on a Tuesday night on a whim and see something interesting, but you also have a chance to dress up nice. Go out to a packed screening of one of the year's best, because they always bring the best. The Film Fest returns for its 48th year, running from October 31st to November 9th. They're featuring over 200 of the world's best new films, as well as all kinds of other great events. Choose your adventure and get tickets at denverfilm.org. That's denverfilm.org.
It's time to go over to our CityCast Denver neighbor and sponsor of this week's episode, Elizabeth Martinez with Compass Real Estate, for our weekly segment, Navigating Denver Real Estate, to answer all of your Denver housing market questions.
This week's question is, how will the government shutdown impact mortgages? Well, that's a great question. There are some impacts due to the government shutdown that involve those programs that are government-backed. So it really depends on how long it lasts, though. So a brief one may only cause small delays, but a prolonged shutdown lasting weeks or more can disrupt certain mortgage programs and slow down closings. USDA loans, think rural loans, are hit the hardest since the Department of Agriculture stops issuing new loans entirely. FHA loans continue, but with fewer staff, so processing and closings could take longer. And some programs, like reverse mortgages, pause completely. VA loans, though, are largely unaffected because they have advanced funding. Though minor delays in appraisal or paperwork can occur, conventional loans, like those that are backed by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, are actually sold off on the secondary market, so they mostly continue. But lenders may face delays getting IRS tax transcripts needed to verify income, which can hold up closings.
This segment is sponsored by Elizabeth Martinez with Compass Real Estate. Have a question about Denver real estate? Use the link in the show notes to submit it. Elizabeth might answer your question in next week's segment. And we're back. Okay, so we left off discussing this demand for immersive art in Denver right now, and it's kind of like a nice walk into this next hot topic, which is your employer, Joshua, Casa Bonita. You published a piece in Westward this week about something that's been happening with the immersive actors there at Casa Bonita. Can you give us a short explanation of like what this big change was?
Sure. So October, Casa Bonita decided that they wanted to do this Casa Bonita and have these activations as a part of the month of October. Super cool. We were really excited about that. I love like throwing new things into it. I love seeing an opportunity to create stuff that is in line. One of my favorite things about Denver is how seasonal it is. But what ended up not being cool for the actors in particular is that they eliminated about all the roaming characters, which eliminated about 1,000 hours, and all of that sort of bumped down. So the actors that played roaming characters then got bumped down into the roaming roles or into the rooted roles, and then that bumped down. And so everybody loses hours across the board. It was illegal. We unionized, and we're currently in negotiations with Casa Bonita's management. We unionized with Actors Equity, strong, good union. They do Broadway. They do Second City. They do a whole bunch of good productions. They have good experience on this. When you're in contract negotiations, under federal law, the employer has to keep what's called the status quo. They can't make any big changes to the workplace while negotiations are actively going on. Losing 1,000 hours and also the opportunity to play these roles, which we love, which the actors have put a lot of themselves into and continue to refine, and actors that continue to get very positive reviews. You hear it over and over again. People don't go to Casa Bonita for the food; they go for the experience. And a big part of that, activating that experience, are the performers on the floor, performing, actually doing the things. And
do you all have data on that? Because I filled out a customer experience survey, and I was like, divers too good looking, too good at diving, no fear of death in their eyes.
So here's the thing: they don't really make that information public to us. What we do have is reviews that we'll see on Google or wherever that are screenshotted, and hundreds of them, from these different people that have direct stories that relate to an actor giving a good performance beyond what their job description is. And so it's been a tough month because it's just they're doing something illegal and removing these characters. To add insult to injury, they're also encouraging people to dress up as those removed characters as a part of the activation.
Like they're encouraging guests
to dress up as Black Bart.
Which prior to this, right, folks, guests were not allowed to dress up.
Not allowed to dress up as the face characters for good reason. This really comes out of Disney really looked into this more. When you allow people to dress up as your face characters, adults, you lose control over those characters, because then the people dressed up as those characters can sort of make decisions.
Yeah, it's a brand integrity question.
But
I don't want to see
Mickey Mouse
Bugs
acting.
Bunny drunk,
Yeah.
Exactly.
barfing into
Acting
the
a
trash
fool.
can.
Mhm.
So
I mean, I do, but
so even from there, it's a completely amateurish decision to then encourage that. And it really speaks to there's this huge miscommunication in terms of who's actually making the decision at management and from Park County and from Casa Bonita's corporate. And
is
it's
Park County Matt and Trey?
Matt and Trey, yeah.
Okay.
And so
Is that their company or is that just what you guys call them?
no, that is their company name is Park
Okay.
County. Yeah, Park County Creative. It's just the entire since they've reopened, they continue to have bad people in those management positions. And all I've wanted to do, and so many of my coworkers that have been here since day one, since they reopened, is to entertain the public. Like that's our big, and to do it in a safe manner, and to get paid a livable wage. And it's,
Well, and to have hours, I think when you're saying the illegal nature of this was that folks' hours were cut out of nowhere.
out of nowhere, 2
think-
weeks notice.
Allegedly illegal.
Allegedly.
Did you all file a complaint with the NLRB?
Filed a complaint with the NLRB.
Are we optimistic about that? Because that's
well-
Trump's National Labor Relations Board now.
That's true, but the last word on it was that there was active communication between the jobs board agent and the union about it. And well, there's the shutdown right now, so there's no progress that can be made on it until the shutdown is lifted. But it has like real like meat to it. These complaints. Yeah, I guess the other thing about this is that the performers, on top of like we do activate the space, we're also some of the lowest paid employees in the building. There was that big story of talking about how everybody's getting paid a living wage at Casa Bonita, hourly wage rising up to $28. That wasn't the performance staff at all. So I get paid $23 an hour.
No tips.
No tips. So on the bottom of every menu, it says that we're part that like that goes into a tip pool. The performers are not a part of that tip pool at all. And so it's just I love what I do. I wish my employer valued us or saw the value that we provide to the company, because when they reopened Casa Bonita and they put those big billboards up, the first thing they said is the divers are back. So it's like they do know how valuable we are to that place. And I wrote it in the article. This is 50-year-old institution, multi-generations, grandparents bringing their grandchildren, and they also brought their children when they were children. And to have that responsibility to entertain those people, to bring joy to those people, to the grandparents and to the kids that are coming in for the first time, building a new relationship with the gorilla or with Casa Bonita in general, especially Casa Bonita that doesn't smell, that is beautiful on the inside, they take a lot of pride in that. And all I want to do is entertain,
I appreciate that perspective. That I was going to read your quote actually, that you just summed up, where you said Casa Bonita is non-ironically one of Colorado's most important cultural institutions. And I have to say, I think that's a newer
Maybe
feeling
the most
or understanding for us when we got it back. Was like, oh, we really, really valued this, because before it was just like we kind of took it for granted, and it helps. To me, it's really special to hear from you as a performer what it means to you, because it is not just a restaurant with entertainment on the inside. It is part of Colorado's core identity at this point. I do just want to say the thing that kind of was a struggle for me was learning about what happened to you all as the performers. While on the other side of it, I had heard from the artists that were making the installations before. I didn't know this was any part of it. It was just like, hey, we got this opportunity to make these cool static installations for Casa Bonita. Like, they're actually going to lean into Halloween and Dia de los Muertos. And one of the artists, Cal Duran, that designed a lot of these pieces, has been on this really beautiful journey that he's shared publicly on Instagram of finding his own ancestry and learning his art form and actually studying with like Colorado Chicano masters here. And so to see his work inside of there was so exciting to me. And then it was just like I'd suck the air out of the balloon to learn that it was coinciding with this removal of the other part of the artistry here.
This could have been such a great thing. Like it really, like that's like, I love trying new things, especially when you're able to find authenticity or find beauty in creating these new things. I think when you take on new projects, you create something that wasn't there before.
Yeah.
We wanted to be a part of it,
Sure.
you know? So,
Yeah.
no.
Well, from Matt and Trey's perspective, if I may
Go for it.
drop some LSD and put on a dress and go to the Oscars and speak a little bit to what I imagine is going through their heads.
So just another Friday night. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you know, what is it? The late night smoke room that they have there. If you step into the back room of Casa Bonita with Matt and Trey, I think what these guys like is maximum creative freedom. You know, if you know about how South Park works, is they want to be able to write a script for a 20-minute episode responding to the news, and then the news changes, they throw it away and they write a new one, animate the show in 3 days, get it out and have it respond immediately so they can say exactly what they want to say. That's how they've designed their show. That's how they've had success. That's what they want out of Casa Bonita too. For them, Casa Bonita, I think, is a canvas. And I would imagine that they are seeing data, they're seeing customer feedback that says, maybe this is not the most important thing to us. We love the divers. We love the gorilla. We love the sopapillas. Black Bart, the sheriff. I don't know if those are anyone's favorite things. And that having additional staff is the expensive part. So maybe there are efficiencies to allow us to make sure Casa Bonita can stay strong in the long term and achieve profitability faster. And we don't need to be spending so much on performers.
But these aren't data-driven solutions. Like there is.
Well, we don't know that. Like you said, we don't know what the survey said.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know in particular. I don't have the aggregated data. I do know, having been there, you know, in the building over and over again, and just seeing what I can see in terms of the consistent positive reviews that come back. But I also know I'm in the building. So I see what goes well or what doesn't. So I know from my own perspective, and that people, they love the divers, they love the gorilla, they love going into that world. You take away the performers, it turns into a tropical rainforest cafe, and that's not going to justify a $40 ticket. And there's also just a sense of like, they're not making great like I've been a part of organizations that make decisions that I don't necessarily agree with, but I understand the vision. There's no vision right now. There's no creative
You don't think so?
In terms of like a creative vision to try to generate profit. Not at all. They put $40,000 into that theater and they only stage store show. They have video, they have incredible lighting system. Why aren't they doing more events in that theater space that they put so much money into?
They should totally do that.
They have video capability. They could be recording stuff down there. And there's all these different activations where there's just slow movement and the best idea is presented and ignored over and over and over again. Well,
they want to get the core business right too. And I think that's what I'm seeing here. Because when I saw the internal email that went out, I saw this framed as a pilot experiment in a temporary seasonal activation, this Halloween, Dia de los Muertos thing.
Yeah.
I think that they're trying this out. They're going to see how it works. And if people respond to it and they love it, they'll do more.
There's no trust from the performance staff.
I believe that. I mean, if I got that email, I would be furious and I get my hours cut. I'd be so upset.
Well, it's not only that. It's not just this decision. It's the decision to hire, David Anthony. It was the decision to continue to put poor management in place at Casa Bonita, and poor management based on the decisions that they made. It's just one of those things where in the beginning, there was a lot of that creative canvas that they did and that came out in the documentary, and they're around all the time, and they did make good decisions about the place. And then they took a step back, and the people that they allowed manage the space, I did a poor job. And I think you see that with Marty leaving as CEO, and I think you see that with the amount of turnover that they have at the entertainment director position, and are going to continue to have. Where this decision, the decision didn't even come from our own internal entertainment. It was sort of pushed on to our bosses. So
maybe they should hire Charlie Miller.
I mean,
he's looking for a job.
He did great stuff at Off Center.
I don't know, Paul, I wonder about the economics of it, because from the outside customer perspective, it's still hard to get in there. So they're clearly making plenty of money.
Less and less hard. The reservations are easier to get.
It's true.
Okay. That's interesting, because I just feel like that has been for so long the narrative that I would assume they're making plenty of money. Also, I step in there. I don't just buy a meal. I don't even drink, and I spend a ton of money when I go in there.
Oh, same. No, I love it. Every
I walk
time
into
I go,
the gift shop, I buy everything they have. I'll buy anything.
A spell comes over me. I give them money. That's what happens. But I think they're running into the same problem that Meow Wolf is running into. Meow Wolf's a little bit further ahead, but what's the beef on Meow Wolf right now for locals? Boring. Seen all the exhibits.
But
I don't need to go
Casa
back.
Bonita every week, and I wouldn't go to Meow Wolf.
But you do. But in the aggregate, things get a little stale. The average person, you've seen it before. I've seen the dives. I've seen the shooting gallery. I want something a little bit fresh.
But that's true with like maybe the puppet show or sorcerer, like you've seen it. You could have a different experience with the roaming cast every time you come in, and do. And people develop relationships with the people over 3 or 4 times.
And that theater feels so special. I just have to say, it's like,
well, this is their challenge, though, is how do you make it a sustainable business that can be constantly evolving? And this is the kind of thing that puts enormous pressure on labor, because for the staff, for a job, for a regular person who just wants to go to work every day and make a salary they can depend on, they need reliability and sustainability and consistency. And that conflicts directly with evolution and creative expression.
But I do want to push back, though, on something you're saying, Paul, because what I'm hearing from you, Joshua, is what I experienced a lot in many years of retail. I worked on the floor every day. I knew what worked. I knew what needed. I knew what customers wanted. I knew. And then higher up would make a decision, and it would come down and we would go, what are you doing? These are people that have never been in the store. They don't know what's going on. And it feels a lot to me like you all know what the pulse of the experience is every day. That could be evolved and changed, but they're not it feels to me like you say they're like not really listening to you all. The people that are in there every day.
It's not even listening. They're making decisions without just full on. It's a poor way to run an organization. Even if you are trying to totally like change your creativity of it. It's you want data, you want good data, and you want the input from the people that are on the floor every day to make better decisions. That's not a complicated thing to sort of understand. And we also just we're the least valued member financially, and we're not even that big of a block, maybe 40 employees in the entertainment department, and we're less valued than anybody else in there financially. I
do wonder about that, because I think that the characters and we've talked about this before, but the IP of Casa Bonita is still quite untapped. Like if they really wanted to do like a web series or do a show, a staged show, they could use some of their Broadway skills and use that theater a little bit more. They could really build up these characters or specific actors that play these characters into mini celebrities in town. They could really flesh this thing out a little bit more, but it just seems like that's not the path they want to go right now.
Yeah, they could do that. They could do more off-site events. There's a whole corporate world out there that would love to have the gorilla and
that would dilute Bart. The brand though. You can't do that. You can't send Black Bart into Palantir for
dilute it in what way? That we get more opportunities to make money. That's what's crazy is like you don't want me to be able to pay rent. It sounds like this and there's like this thing of like when you get into the entertainment industry, it really feels like people are mad that this is the way that you're making your living. Like, why do you get to be?
But also, I do have to say, I mean, my husband is a musician. Yeah. He works gig to gig, and I was talking to him about this, and he was like, "Yeah, sometimes I don't get paid. Sometimes this is the gamble I take by doing this kind of work."
But that's why we unionize, so that we get those protections. That's fair. Yeah. And good departments, like good companies, they don't have workforces that unionize, right? It was bad decisions by this management we voted twice unanimously to unionize. Unanimously.
This is a whole other conversation. Yeah. I think we need to move on.
No, I appreciate it. I want to know what listeners think about this. I love the level of detail that we get to talk about this place. I do think it is the most important cultural institution in Colorado.
I think that's a good point.
The fact that this story remains interesting after years, this reopening of this place, and we get to have your insight from the inside is brilliant. And I love hearing from you. And I want to know what listeners think. And I hope they call in and tell us what they think about what it's been like going to Casa Bonita lately. What's their favorite part? What do they want to see out of it next?
Call us 720-500-5418. You can leave us a message or shoot us a text. All right, well, we're back. It's time for our wins and fails of the week, Rocky Mountain highs and lows. Start with fails. Paul, what's your fail this week?
My fail this week is kind of the ongoing fear, frustration from Denverites around the federal government and our president and how he is cracking down on immigration and rounding people up and going into neighborhoods and arresting people. This week, Westward had a story about this that really hit home for me as a hockey fan, someone who's been thinking about the start of the Colorado Avalanche season this weekend.
Josh Mason.
The defenseman?
Yeah, he leveled a guy. You didn't see that?
No, I didn't see that. I should find that clip.
Well, make your point.
Okay, so the fail is that this article was like it's Hispanic Heritage Night. The Avalanche are celebrating Hispanic Heritage Night at their home opener on Saturday. I think it's Saturday, and they've hired an artist that I think Bree knows.
My homegirl Carmelie designed their jerseys for Hispanic Heritage
It looks incredible. It's so cool.
They look sick. They look sick.
Thank you.
And this is such a huge priority for the NHL. It's long been a league that is like for cultural and historic and economic reasons. It's been all white guys. Almost 99% of the league is white guys. The audience is disproportionately white relative to the population. And it would be great if more people saw this as a cool thing that they could enjoy. So that was the effort of the night. However, there are now fears that ICE will be raiding Ball Arena. And so apparently there's been a lot of chatter online from local people who are from the Hispanic, Latino, Chicano community who are saying, I don't know if I want to go. I don't know if I want to go to the game. Does anyone want my tickets? Because I don't want to get rounded up by ICE.
Yeah,
so my fail goes to the federal government and I guess this whole thing of a misfire on this celebration.
That's sad because you want the celebration, you want to bring new fans into it, and there's a real legitimate fear that if they go to this place, there'll be people there that are trying to violate their rights, and that then real violence, like actual violence. For trying to enjoy a game.
It's just so upsetting because it's the thing that the NHL has been trying to do for so long and that I've always found so frustrating about the hockey world is just so homogenous. And then you see these efforts and it's like you want to celebrate them and then for it to be tanked by the federal government sucks.
Yeah.
Well, and this is something that folks in this community are experiencing beyond just like wanting to go out on a night. I mean, we're talking about organizations now organizing grocery pickups and drop-offs for folks that are afraid to go to the grocery store. Childcare situations where folks are connecting with other people because they're afraid to leave their house. I mean, this is just one of many components that a lot of folks in our community are dealing with directly. So, just really sucks. Joshua, what's your feel?
My fail of the week, this came in an email thread on October 2nd. This is when the Denver Post article put a thing talking about how the co-chairs of the Denver American Indian Commission they wanted to withdraw the commission from the Indigenous Peoples Day event, which is happening Monday on 13th, 12 to 6 at City Park East Meadows. The thread was... it was pretty much every important native in the Denver metro area all in one email thread. And the email was pretty angry at the co-chairs. And it included the co-chairs on the email thread. And so then there was a lot of like back and forth. And it was pretty embarrassing. And so it's also just a lot of it just doesn't make sense. This is the first time this Indigenous Peoples Day that the city is giving its employees a paid holiday off for Indigenous Peoples Day. So the city is celebrating the Indigenous people that live here in Denver with this holiday, and they wanted to celebrate it, and the celebration is happening 12 to 6 so that part is cool. I'm glad that the celebration is still happening. The fact that we're at a place in the Denver Native community where there's still a lot of anger, and we still don't it doesn't seem like we know how to talk to each other in a constructive way to sort of build up. I think this is a very important city for Indigenous people because it's the urban gateway to so many different tribal nations. There's so many federal organizations that work in Indian country that have the regional headquarters here in Denver. We need to do better as a community to create a better place so that we can continue to advocate and also support the Indigenous people that live here.
But you will be at Indigenous Peoples Day.
I will be.
The celebration on Monday.
Come say hi, please. Come out. I'd love. Yeah, there's booze. There'll be there's ceremony that's happening. There'll be dances. It'll be a good time. Come say hi. I'll be the one in the Casa Bonita hat.
Awesome. Okay, well, my fail is to Denver police officer Kendall Albert, who was fired last month after he asked out a domestic violence victim he, quote, met on the job.
God.
He stalked this woman. And
don't do that, dude.
That's bad.
Yeah, I mean, you have one job, which is supposedly to protect people, which I find questionable for any police officer. But
was it like years later? Like after was it like...
No.
It was like a week.
On the drive. I'm sorry, go on.
He encountered the woman in 2024 in September who called the police about a domestic violence situation. And he talked to her while they were on the scene and then texted her about getting coffee that night. Oh. So if you were wondering, I guess some police officers use their job to prey on people who are in domestic violence situations.
That's... bad look.
Kendall Albert's been fired. Please shame him and whatever else needs to happen to someone who does something that terrible. Moving on. Wins. What are our wins this week? Josh, what's your win this week?
Well, Paul already sort of stole a little bit of my thunder about it. Hey, the Avalanche are back, baby.
Okay, all right.
Oh, man.
You going to buy a Nordiques jersey? That's the rumor. It's coming.
I like the idea that we stole their team, and so
I like that.
I like that we stole it right before they won the Stanley.
I think
we got a Stanley down here.
As a Canadian, my culture's not your costume.
Yeah, well, too bad because all right, we got that. Was it? We got. Here's the thing. It's just like that would have been Canada's like opportunity to win their first Stanley since the Great One, and they still haven't won one.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I like that. America first when it comes to Stanley Cups.
God, it has been lately. The Panthers with their MAGA owner, they can't be beat. They're going to win again.
Yeah, well, no, I believe in McDavid. With this weird hockey aside, I like that he took the pay cut. I believe
huge pay cut.
I think it's a beautiful story to sort of bookend the Canadian Stanley Cups with the Great One and then with McJesus at Edmonton. I think that'd be really cool.
I'd like him to win one there.
He's come close. He's gone to that Game 7. You know, So, hey, if he wanted it, he would have won. So,
Avs are back. What do you think? Were they gonna make some noise?
I feel good about it, especially with Captain Daddy like actually being here for this season. There's still that sense of like we got to win one for the skipper that I enjoy. I think McKinnon looks great. We'll see if we can get one before Makar sort of takes up all the salary in his negotiations. But I'm excited. I'm excited for basketball too. But my partner loves hockey, and she's nicer to me when there's real hockey happening. So everybody clap for me.
I think this is going to be the year, if Denverites don't know about this guy named Brent Burns, but the Avalanche side, this veteran defender named Brent Burns, and he looks like a mountain man. He's got a giant beard. He used to play for the Sharks for years in his prime. He was fantastic. He's still good. I think he'll make the roster most of the year. He'll probably get hurt at some point. He's old. But he does no teeth. He has a giant beard, and he's got a great personality. And I think he's like, Colorado's ready to fall in love with this guy.
Yeah, I mean, we like guys with beards.
He looks hilarious. He's a very funny looking dude. Big character.
Could be the Chuck Nasty of the Avalanche.
We'll see. I don't know. It'd be fun.
Okay. Now that hockey corner's over again, I'll go.
Please.
Gustavo Arellano. Many folks know him as Ask a Mexican, the column that ran for many years out of the OC Times, OC Weekly, and and in Westward for a long time wrote this really beautiful ode to our Den-Mex scene. He was back here doing a lecture, and I just always enjoy when someone else who doesn't live here loves our Mexican food as much as some of us do.
I here's the thing. I look back on that clip. I said Colorado was in that second tier. I said Colorado has good Mexican food.
Second.
My blood's
Who
boiling.
do you take out of that list? New Mexico, Arizona, California, and
Take
Texas.
you out of the list.
Well, Colorado's number one.
No
first
way.
Of all.
No
first
way.
of all. But anyway,
No
Gustavo
way.
knows this as a
What
person
did Gustavo say? What did he talk about?
I mean, he just went through several of his favorites. Unfortunately, sadly, his first place he wanted to go, my favorite, El Noa Noa, found out it was closed. So he went to La Fiesta, of course.
Have you been to the new place that moved in there?
El Chingon? I had a really bad experience at their previous one, so I've not. But I don't know if it's open again.
Have you?
They were closed.
No, I'm very much looking forward to
because of the
going.
fire. But he went through a couple different places. He just hit a bunch of different places. He just talked so lovingly about the food and the history, and he talked a lot about spending time in Walsenburg and Pueblo, and it just feels so good when other people can recognize what we do so well. So
I mean, he's the best. He's such a good writer.
He's a
fun
fun writer.
Mexican food in America.
Yeah, I'll put a link in the show notes. It was just a wonderful feel-good piece if anybody's looking for one. Paul, take us out with your win.
Well, now you got me wanting to talk about. There's a new Mexican place in my neighborhood, Tia's Taqueria.
Ooh.
Where?
It's in the old strip mall that we used to have the Blockbuster Video thing that you know.
Oh.
It was a laundromat a year ago, and now it's a Mexican place.
Oh,
California style.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's good. I'm optimistic. I met the people.
Tijuana style or like what type of California?
I couldn't tell you. But my win this week is for, I read about this thing in Denverite. Chiara Damari, their new reporter, wrote about it. And I thought it was a great piece. Got me really excited about something new that's happening in the bar scene. Watch parties for reality TV shows like Love is Blind are apparently making buco bucks. Big business.
Honestly, about time. I feel like the way folks treat the Bravo universe is the way that people feel about sports.
Yeah.
So why would we not have these kinds of... I'm not even a big reality TV person, and that sounds like a bar I would want to go to any day.
I know.
Lovely
it's
idea.
So that was my win, was like, this is just such a great business unlock. And like someone, I don't know, maybe steal the idea. Maybe I want to do it and throw the whole podcast world behind. But
I think they're called Denver & Co. I saw them do something at Improper City, and it seemed like a ton of people came out.
It's huge.
Yeah, so.
Everyone wants to do this.
It's
Go
fun
watch a
to
finale.
talk
It's an
about.
event. It's fun. It's great. It totally makes sense.
Also, if anyone wants to do a rewatch of Vanderpump Rules, I will also go to that bar. Thank you very much.
Well, that's what I would do. If I were to open a bar, the reality bar, Paul's Reality House, I would have a mix of the classics, like the Denver Real World season. I would have like OG Survivor stuff. Like I would have the old stuff, and then I'd have the events. Like you have big sports games, you'd have the finales of everything. And I don't have, I guess the name's not good, but I have a slogan for the bar. You'd say, "Don't come here to make friends."
That's right. I didn't come here.
Don't.
Friends. This is so good.
That's good,
This
right?
is so good. I mean, they could do Halloween parties. It would be so easy. Also, if anyone wants to do a rewatch of The Hills, I'm here. Okay.
You're just really reaching out to a lot of millennials right now. Being like, hey, are there any lonely millennials out there?
To my fellow Gen Xers, if you want to watch Real World San Francisco, hit me up.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. Well, this was so fun. Joshua, Paul, thanks for joining me.
Solidarity. Brother.
See you next time, everyone.
Bye. That's all for today here on CityCast Denver. Our producers this week were Paul Caroli and Olivia Jewel Love. We record at Dude IDK Studios in 5 Points with support from Jacob Rupp and Nick Holmby. Peyton Garcia writes our morning newsletter, Hey Denver. Abby Madigan runs our social media. I'm Bree Davies, your host. Our music is by Los Mogochetes with additional mixing by Tyler Lindgren. If you haven't already, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Instagram at CityCastDenver and tell Charlie Miller about us next time you see him. You can support the show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Denver neighbor today at membership.citycast.fm. And you can sign up for our daily newsletter and learn more about us at denver.citycast.fm. See you next week. Thank you. Proceed with your social hour, girls.
I wanted to pitch, when we were talking about Dirt, I had another idea, because I know they're doing Midsummer Night's Dream as their first show.
Oh, really?
I was going to put this out in the world that Joshua would be a great Oberon,
I've never seen Midsummer Night's Dream. What's the character?
the king of the fairies.
I would like to see that.